Who's the hottest player in the NBA right now? If you answer Jalen Brunson, you are wrong. It's not. It's Anthony Edwards. Today's video, we're going to take a look at Anthony Edwards card prices. We're going to look at this absolutely insane spike in his PSA 10 Prism cards, and then we're going to ask the question, why are some spiking more than others? And I'm interested to get your thoughts on that right there. So we're going to take a look at tons of cool Anthony Edwards cards today, and we're going to look at basically the same graph over and over where his cards are going bananas. Stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code CAJUN, all caps, C-A-J-U-N, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. Let's take a quick look at the Anthony Edwards card market, a specific niche, only those cards that are included in the card ladder database. I don't think there's a player out there that is any hotter. He is on the tip of everyone's tongue. That's what she said. Anthony Edwards is destroying kids in the playoffs. Minnesota looks to be a legitimate contender to come out of the West. They're up 2-0 against Denver at the moment. They don't play again until Friday, which makes no sense to me. They played on, I think, Monday, and now they're going to take 3 days off in between while the other teams play 2 games in between. I'm sure it has something to do with TV money, but we're going to look at the Anthony Edwards cards, and I'm going to show you an interesting illogical incongruency, yes, to use a word that most people in South Louisiana don't use, and anomaly is another word that comes to mind. We've always been taught that low pop wins, right? Invest in the rare stuff, invest in the low pop stuff. That might make sense long term, and I ascribe to that theory. I collect primarily Jordan cards from the 90s and then some rare cards as well of other players throughout the hobby, but primarily, I pay very close attention to whatever the pop is. But what we have to remember is there are 2 sides to this analysis, 2 sides to this equation. It's supply and demand. Those are the 2 driving factors when it comes to finding a saturation point and the proper price point for a card. And so today, we're going to look at an interesting incongruency in the hobby, and you're going to see that the higher pop stuff for Anthony Edwards is outperforming the lower pop stuff over the last 3 months. And I have a theory as to why that's the case, and we'll talk about it a little bit more as we look through it. But I just want to show you what I'm looking at. Again, I have no dog in this hunt. I own 3 Anthony Edwards cards. All 3 of them are either pop, well, one of them's a 1 of 1, and then there's a pop 1, and then maybe a pop 2 or something like that. I wanted to get back into the Anthony Edwards market about 4 months ago, and I am punching myself in the face for not having done that, because it would have been easy money, quick flip money. That is the investor side of me speaking, right? Anyway, all right, here's what we got. So the number 1 performing PSA 10 Anthony Edwards card in the card ladder database, right? This is only the cards in the card ladder database, is his 2020 Hoops base PSA 10. This chintzy little card. Yes, that sounds crazy, and it is crazy. It's a pop 1,274. Look at this graph. Memorize this graph over here. Get used to it, because every damn graph for every Anthony Edwards card looks like this. It was slowly trending upward, and then all hell broke loose as we neared the playoffs, and you can see it is off to the races. I am going to try not to use bad words and call people names for buying cards like these, because they're, again, I am not here to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. The very fact of the matter is, I would have called the person a name for buying this card for $58 here a couple of weeks ago, right? Or on April 28th, what is that? That's 10 days ago. It was a $58 card. I would have said, that's just dumb. This is a $3 card raw, and you're paying $58 for a PSA 10. It's a pop 1,274. There's probably another 20,000 of them out there. I'm not exaggerating. There's probably another 20,000, maybe 40,000, I don't know, 2020 Hoops Anthony Edwards base rookie cards like this. But if I was calling you an idiot at 58, well, now the card just sold for 118, so somebody just made double. That's double your money, right? 58 to 118 is a little over 100% return. So crazy. That is card number 1, the number 1 performing card, closely followed by, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to say it,
His base Prism rookie card, PSA 10, popped 3,340. They probably printed 75,000 of these, I'm guessing. I don't know, just going back to what they did with Doncic and Zion and those folks and Morant and those guys. Look at the trend on this one. Again, exact same graph. We're looking at the exact same graph. There's just more data points because this is a more popular card than the Hoops base, and there are more of it, probably more of them. There's certainly more of them graded, might be more of them printed, I would have to conjecture. 186, 190, 193, that's fine. That's too much for a base card. Did we not learn our lesson with Luka Doncic base Prism PSA 10s? And then watch this insanity. Boom. Somebody's paying $356 for a base Prism PSA 10 Anthony Edwards. That is a pop $3,340. I mean, that is a pop $3,340. That just doesn't make sense. For God's sakes, that's more than his silver PSA 10. By the way, which there's 4 figures pop of the silvers as well. We're about to see that card up at the top as well. $356.95, $357 for a base Prism Anthony Edwards. I don't know what kind of game you're playing. Here's the deal. I'm going to go on the record. There is no way in God's green earth, there's no way that this card is going to be a $200 card 65 days from now. It's just not possible. There's just no way. It's not going to happen. It's going to crash back. So these are people playing the hot potato game. We've seen this before in the hobby. Don't get caught up in it. It's not FOMO. I don't have a fear of missing out. I missed out, right? I had my chance to invest in Anthony Edwards and crush it, and I didn't. But to be honest with you, these aren't the kind of cards that I would have been buying. I might have looked at color match. I might have bought a couple of silvers just because I thought they were low, and I knew that the silvers would pop and they'd be easy to liquidate, right? They need to be liquidatable cards, if that's a word. I might have made something up. Next, fast break, up 275%. Now we're talking about a little bit lower pop. Still, I don't think it's a rare card, but I think these are more rare now than I think they were back in 2017-18 when they were introduced. Just the regular old fast break. A lot of people call them disco or disco bubbles, and in other sports they're called bubbles, like in soccer or whatever. This is just a regular fast break, pop 65. Look at the graph, same graph, right? We're talking about a card that was $356. Well, what a coincidence. That's exactly what somebody paid for the base card, yesterday, a month ago. This disco or fast break was $356. Now look at it, $750. Again, double your money in less than a month. That's real numbers too. That's a legit $350 margin. Again, we throw out taxes, shipping, eBay fees, however you decide to sell it. Next on the list, Orange Ice. 5 times as many of these as there are the fast break. I don't know if many people would have understood that, but if you open this product, which I did, I recognized there was a lot more Orange Ice than there was just ordinary fast break. I remember busting those boxes way back when and thinking to myself, these fast breaks used to be really common. They're not that common anymore. 337 here for the pop for the Orange Ice, and look at this graph, and this graph is a stark explosion. 325 9 days ago. Why don't we go to 732? That's more than 100% return in a couple of weeks. Again, keep in mind, this is a high pop. 337 is high pop in my book, right? Because of what I collect and what my perspective is of the hobby and just kind of knowing what I know about the hobby. I consider 337 a humongous population of a card, especially knowing there's probably another 337 out there that are going to be graded over the next decade. The first relatively rare card, and again, this is not rare. There are 8 of them, but there are 75 printed, and it's really sort of a meaningless parallel. I mean, there's no color match. There's no history to it. There probably will be no lasting history to this card. It is a fast break Prism purple. It's a woeful color combination. This card even, look at the number. $5,100. This is a card, and people are out there saying, you can't invest in sports cards anymore. You can't invest in sports cards anymore. BS. I'm watching it happen. I'm giving you a video showing you it can be done. It may not be easy. You may have to guess right. You may have to choose the correct cards, but it can be done. So this is the first high dollar value card that we're going to look at. This fast break purple number to 75 is up 171%. It sold 2 months ago. February, March, April, a little less than 3 months ago for $1,800. The card just sold on May 7th, yesterday, for $5,100. You're talking about $3,300 margin on that one. Again, that's gross margin, not netting out all the crap that goes with selling cards. We're going to keep going until we get to my point here. And again, remember, I do have a point. I know that's rare, but I do have a point. The next somewhat, sort of, kind of silly, rare thing is the red. There's 4 times as many reds printed as the fast break purple. But if you ask me, I would think that more people would want the red. I would think the demand for the red $299 regular Prism set is greater than the demand for the fast break purple serial number 75. That's just me. Again, supply drives prices, demand drives prices. The last sale for the red, $3,000. Okay, that is up. It's up 170%. There's your graph. Like I said, it's the same graph over and over. Finally, we're going to get to the silver, and we're getting close to killing the video and kind of coming to my point. And I want to pose the question to you guys and ask you to comment to tell me if I'm a nut job. Everybody's seen the card. It's silver. It's the same card we're looking at. It's just got a silver background. 1,669 is the pop today. My guess is that will push over probably 3,000 at some point during Anthony Edwards' career. It's just a hunch with all the Kraken resubs and all the Raws that haven't been submitted. I think it probably will. Same exact graph we're looking at. This is the commodity card, right? I didn't think the base was going to double the performance of the silver. I thought the silver was the new base. I did a video about 2 years ago explaining silver is the new base, right? Base used to be the commodity card, the kind of like the common, the share of common stock that's traded on the stock exchange where you don't give a shit about the card. Nobody's buying a base Prism Anthony Edwards rookie card to hold a base Prism Anthony Edwards rookie card long term. They're just not. And if you are, raise your hand. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm crazy. Everybody is buying and selling those cards for profit purposes only. If you truly love Anthony Edwards and you're just in love with the guy and you're buying all this bullshit about him being the next Jordan, which, again, he's my favorite right now with Giannis out. He's probably my favorite player in the NBA to watch along with Luka Doncic. If you're buying Anthony Edwards, you're not, and you do love him and you want to just PC him and you want to collect him and that's your passion, and for the next 10 years you're going to buy into him and follow his career, you're probably not buying base PSA 10s. Am I wrong? You're probably going to buy something a little more meaningful, depending on your budget. The last silver sold for $14.89. Are you smoking cracola? Look at this. That card was a $500 card 3 months ago. And now it's sold for $1,489. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have all jumped by an inordinate amount. There is some crazy stuff going on with this pop 1,669 card right now. Next, Pink Ice, another hot pop card. I know it says pop 302. I assure you there's tons of Pink Ice out there. I think that was a retail exclusive. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's retail exclusive. Sorry, I'm no expert on ultra modern, but same graph, red, white, and blue, high pop 491, same graph. Anthony Edwards red ice. This is a card that I can get with. It's also high pop, but I just think the red ice looks really good, better than the pink ice, better than the brown ice or whatever the hell else they have out there. I like the red ice. I think the red ice looks good, better than the orange ice, etc. Same exact graph. All these are the same graph. Every single one of these cards is doubled, by the way. Finally, we get to a rare card, the blue, green, yellow, or blue, yellow, green Prism parallel. I know that's a little bit more rare. I'm sorry I don't have the exact, pack odds and all that stuff or potential possible print run of these, but I know it's significantly lower. There are 23 of them out there in PSA 10, and as you can see, that graph's a little more reasonable. So the first truly low print run rare card that we get to, well, one of them actually is up the least. Again, remember, the card's doubled, so I'm not sitting here, it's nothing to sneeze at. The card's up 112% over 90 days, and there's plenty of data points to support it. But isn't it funny how we go from commodity, high print run, and we're working our way down, and we're finally working our way down to the low population cards doing worse. The green is another relatively high pop card right here. But you can see the base outperforming the silver, the fast break purple outperforming the gold, apparently, although there might not have been very many sales of a gold PSA 10. These are all PSA 10s, by the way. I put a filter in so we can compare apples to some extent. But as you can see, as we get further down, you're getting to cards that are in the thousands, right? If we go back to the top of this list, like I was showing you, listen to the price of the cards: 118, 356, 750, 750. A couple of expensive ones. The silver, 600, 400, 500. But look, as we go down the list, you start to get to huge cards: 6,200, $9,200 for the Tiger Stripe, $3,900 for the Gold Wave, $4,800 for the Flat Purple, $10,000 for the Kaboom, $7,000 for the Blue Ice, $6,000 for the Choice Blue, $3,600 for the Fast Spray Paint, $9,535 for the Green Pulsar. So $10,000 for the Mojo, $9,000, $3,000, $159,000. Now we're getting out of the normal stuff. But do you get my point? The commodity cards, I call them commodity cards, the higher print run cards are outperforming the lower print run cards, which is in contravention to everything that we've ever been taught and everything that we've come to understand about the hobby. Now, here's my theory on why, and I don't think it's a novel theory. I just think it's pretty much common sense, is that there are probably 1,000 people for every one person that can afford a $5,000 or has the balls to purchase a $5,000 or a $3,000 Anthony Edwards card. For every one of those people, there are probably 1,500 people that can buy a base Prism, a base Hoops, or a Silver. It's just the way it is. And therefore, the demand, even though the supply is significantly lower for these rare Anthony Edwards cards that we saw towards the bottom of this list, I believe the demand so far outweighs, and it's not because they want that card for their collection, it's because they can get in and out of that card quickly, and that card meets their budget. There are just more sharks in the base Prism pond than there are in the silver Prism PSA 10 pond, because that's a $1,400 card now for whatever reason. $350 versus $1,400, right? There's more people in that $350 pond than there is in the $1,400 pond. And if you want to take it to another extreme, there's more people in the silver Prism PSA 10 pond than there is in the gold wave pond or in the true blue color match pond. And for that reason, the demand so far exceeds the difference in supply, right? It's two lines going in different directions. As the supply comes down, that should drive prices up. But the demand for the higher pop cards is so much higher because these folks are looking to get in and out of the cards at some point. That demand is not ignoring, but to some extent it's putting the supply to the side and thinking, hey, I'm in now, I'm out as they approach the finals, or I'm in now, maybe I get out next year, or maybe they just don't know what they're doing and they're just getting in now and they're thinking that it's a good long-term hold to hold a base or a silver, which I assure you it is not. I am not saying this is the highest that a silver PSA 10 Anthony Edwards card will ever sell for at $1,400. Again, this may get pushed up to $2,000. I have no idea. Maybe the hot potato game pushes it up to $2,000. But I can tell you this, there is about 150 different Anthony Edwards cards that I would rather have for $2,000 than that silver PSA 10 that we just looked at. And there sure is hell a lot more Anthony Edwards cards for $350 that I would want rather than that base Prism PSA 10. Not to mention, we start talking about Jordan cards and Kobe cards and, fill in the blank, Doncic, Curry, all that stuff, right? There's a million options out there. But at some point, you got to take a step back and ask the question, why are these prices running like this? I'm interested to know what your comments are. My theory is that there's just so many people in the $350 flipper pool that this is driving an inorganic price spike that's only going to have deleterious results once all is said and done. Maybe they win the whole thing, but what have we learned over the last 4 years? Let's go all the way back to when Giannis won his title and LeBron before him. What have we, LeBron in the bubble with the Lakers, or Mahomes when he wins his Super Bowls? What happens when people actually accomplish their goals? We know what happens. I'll give you 3 seconds. Their card prices go down. It always goes down. Buy the hype, sell the news. That's always what happens. Sell the hype, buy the news. What is it? The hype drives the price up. The news, when they actually accomplish their goals, for whatever reason, the price comes down. It's because that's just the way that investing seems to work in the card hobby. Anyway, that's my Anthony Edwards video, guys. Again, I want to be very clear. I think this dude is a throwback, ultra monster scoring machine. He's here to stay. The team is here to stay. They're going to end up probably moving Cat in the offseason. We'll see how that affects them. They'd love to move Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, right. But they'll probably end up moving Cat because he'll have more value on the open market. Go figure. But he's good enough to float this team, even with an aging point guard who's just a pretty good point guard in Mike Conley, and you know, a nice 3-and-D player in Jaden McDaniels. Naz Reid's really the X factor for that team. My guy from LSU, an absolute behemoth, 6th man of the year, also a candidate for most improved player of the year, also a candidate for might be good enough to be a second best player on a team in the NBA. He is killing stuff in the playoffs right now, for lack of a better word. Anthony Edwards is here to stay. Love the player. Like the direction of the team, although they do have some financial considerations and some concerns. Again, Oklahoma City is going to be a juggernaut in the West for quite some time, but Minnesota is looking good, and Anthony Edwards could not possibly look better. He might come out of this summer's Olympic Games looking like one of the 2 or 3 best players in the entire world. Yes, I said it. He's right there. I had him pushing, knocking on the door of my top 10 based on potential alone. He's finally starting to realize that potential. And we're seeing the ultimate potential from Anthony Edwards in this playoff setting where the game slows down and it's a get me a bucket type game. By the way, it's a get me a bucket while these other 5 dudes try to rape you because the refs have completely swallowed their whistle. And Anthony Edwards is the prototype for the get me the bucket while you're getting raped type player. He is big, he is strong, he is physical, he is mean as shit, he can draw fouls, he can score from all 3 levels, and he is bigger than most people that are trying to guard him. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned this, he is a son of a gun on the defensive end as well. Already being talked about as the best 2-way player in the NBA, which again is not really a term that I like because there's varying levels and degrees of being a 2-way player in offense and defense and all that. But anyway, that is what it is. So don't get it twisted. I love Anthony Edwards, the player. I just wanted to shed some light on some of these card prices over the last 90 days because it's always fun to look at shiny cards, and we just looked at a whole bunch of shiny PSA 10 cards for Anthony Edwards. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Anthony Edwards, the player. Let me know your thoughts on Minnesota as a team and what they can or can't do going forward. Some of you may understand the financial blockade that is looming this offseason better than I do. I am not a salary cap expert. I just know there's issues where they can't keep the thing as currently constructed as far as I understand it. And then let me know more importantly, what you think about Anthony Edwards cards. If I said I'll give you 10 Anthony Edwards cards right now for $1,000, I'll give you a $400 discount. I'll sell you 10 Anthony Edwards Silver Prism PSA 10s for $10,000, but you can't sell them for 1 year. Would you take that deal? Would you take that deal? I'm giving them to you $400 under the last comp right now, $1,000 each, but you can't sell them for 365 calendar days. Would you take that deal? I would not take that deal. That's just me because there's just too many of them out there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you'd take the deal. Thank you guys as always for watching. Keep collecting. Hope you're enjoying the NBA playoffs. Stay positive in the hobby. Peace.